Would somebody like to share what happened for them during the meditation? Somebody like to share? No. Okay. No sharing. We'll have a more interesting meeting if somebody'd like to share. Otherwise, I end up just going to talk to myself.
Gabby?
Okay.
Okay.
Kann man mich hören?
Ja.
Okay. Hi. Meditation at the Zoom is always a little bit tricky for me because there's a lot of blah blah at the surface. I talk to you, John David. I tell you what's happening, and if I'm alone or at the community, it's much easier for me to get deeper, like sinking in the sea. Or but at Zoom, I'm always blah 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 blah. It's not so very deep meditation. That's
Good, nice sharing. Thank you. Somebody else like to share?
okay.
Ulrike?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you. Yeah.
Okay. First, when I look inside, I was very, very nervous. Like all the day, I'm nervous, and then it changed, and I felt a big, strong wall around my heart, and that there is a deep fear to talk to people about deeper things. That's, yes, and it's hard for me to to tell what's inside in me, and it's really hard to talk about this. And yeah, but when I felt deeper, this strong wall became a little bit not so strong, and yeah, but it's still there always.
Right. So, I mean, I haven't had contact with you for some time, but when I look at you tonight, there is a sort of quiet smile on your face. And as I remember you, there seems to be something has changed for you. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. It's yesterday we had self-enquiry, and yeah, it was very it felt very good. I relaxed. When we finished, I was relaxed, and because there was a situation I have to laugh, but I didn't do that. I always told myself, no, you don't have to laugh now. You don't have to laugh. And then I can't
Couldn't stop it.
yes, I can't stop it. And I laughed with all my heart, and such a long time, and everybody was laughing, and it was so good for me. Like, yes,
Right.
it's okay. When this feeling is there, I can take it out. And
so in fact, in that moment, you could say existence was laughing you.
yes.
And then you just surrender to that laughing, yeah?
Yes.
And it affects everybody. Everybody can somehow taste the quality of your laugh, and it touches them also.
Yes.
So somehow that laugh is still continuing tonight, it seems.
Yes, that's true.
So I would strongly recommend you to make a space in your life for that laugh, you know, just allow this feeling that is coming inside you, some kind of feeling that leads to laughing is somehow arising inside you by itself. You're not doing it probably. You don't have to do it, you know. So when you feel this almost like a tickle coming inside, yeah, maybe because now you start to understand that all the things you've always believed in your life was all garbage.
Yes.
So in a way that's, you could also be crying because it's a bit sad to realize that we're full of garbage, full of automatically presented garbage, you know, which we completely have taken on as life itself, which in fact separates us from the true life. And maybe during the self-inquiry, in a way, the whole point of the self-inquiry is to make it clear that everything you believe yourself to be is just bullshit. It's garbage, complete garbage. And the true answer is coming when you become completely silent. Not that you're doing silence, but it's like you just come to a place inside you which is completely silent. And then it's easy to laugh, actually, because you just remember all the things you've been saying about yourself. Yeah, I'm consciousness, I'm truth, whatever you've been telling, you know. Many people last night were talking a lot because for many it was the first time they had done the exercise. And of course, when you talk a lot about what you think yourself, who you think yourself to be, and then gradually over 2 hours, you begin to, I mean, you can't really believe it anymore. You keep saying the words, but it, somehow you can feel that it doesn't really work. It's just words. It's just lots of words. And these words are inside us, filling up our mind. And in that exercise, they come tumbling out. But the beauty of the exercise is that if it goes on a bit longer, probably than last night, it was a bit short doing it in the evening. But anyway, when you go on a bit longer, you have to see that all that you're speaking is not you. And then it begs the question, then who am I if I'm not all these things? Not my body, not my thoughts, not my feelings, not all my beliefs. When you confront that, it's not so easy in the beginning. We'll talk more about it in a moment. Okay, very good. Somebody else?
Lakshmi?
Yes, I couldn't really differ today if I'm only tired from working or if I fell very deep. It was a very silent space and I enjoyed it very much. I think, yeah, I like this silence inside of me.
Right. So whether it was the meditation or it was lots of hard work, it would be nice if all the work you're doing brings you also to silence.
Yeah. I think it is. Yeah. I have to realize this limit. Yeah. But I think this much work is leading me to a new quality of silence. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
That's
it.
nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Yeah, new
Yeah.
quality of
Mhm.
silence.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You
Yeah.
look a bit tired, actually. So
Yeah, I am.
you have to take care of the body.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Somebody else like to share? One more sharing, and then we move on. We've got some volunteers in the house this week. Maybe one of them would like to share something. Okay, I'll have to select somebody. How about Christian? Would you like to share what happens to you in the meditation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
For me, it was very intense. After a while, I had no answer to the question. And today in the morning, I feel very empty and have this silence in the meditation. And today I grabbed the book with for the self-inquiry.
All right.
And I have a question.
Okay.
What is the difference between the self-inquiry in silence for myself and meditation?
Well, self-inquiry has the potential to bring you to your being. And of course, meditation also has the possibility of bringing you to your being. So in that way, they're both similar. But the difference is that with asking yourself this question, who am I? You're you're realizing that this is like the fundamental question. With meditation, you're more looking to come to silence. So you have maybe a busy mind, and by meditating, we can gradually quieten our mind, and we can have moments when it's just silent. But with self-inquiry, it can bring us to a deeper place where this quality, Lakshmi was talking about a quality of silence. The quality of silence is somehow different. It's very hard to talk about it, and maybe it's not really even sensible to try to talk about it. But you come to your very being, and in your very being, there's an enormous silent space in which you feel very nurtured, you feel very supported. But this is not so, it's not so different from where you can also come in meditation. So I hope I have answered your question.
May I ask another question?
Well, yes, but a bit later. So I mean, what I would like to say to you is that when you were sharing just now, it's somehow clear that last night you came to a kind of answer, because you came to the part of the answer, which is that you couldn't accept your answers anymore. When you say, I'm a businessman, I'm a father, I'm a man, what you can carry on saying all these things, but in the end, it doesn't really touch something deep enough. And it could be that quite quickly last night, you saw that this is not the answer. And then maybe you didn't know what the answer was. And so then you didn't quite know what to do. But actually, in this exercise, there's a chance to just stay in a quiet eye contact with your partner realizing that there's nothing really to say, and that anything you say is so much garbage. So probably what you're experiencing now has some effect from what you experienced last night. And therefore you can say, I feel altogether quieter. You feel altogether quieter because all the thoughts that are normally pressing inside you are somewhat diminished or have completely stopped today. I can't judge that, but maybe they've stopped. So we'll come back and have a longer question and answer if you have some questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to remind you, this book is now available through Amazon. From the 1st of August, it's been available through Amazon. And also as an ebook, it's available through Amazon. And you can also buy it from our website, Open Sky Press, also as an ebook and as a regular book. Of course, we're happy if you buy it from our website because the money comes to us for the next project. Anyway, we're very happy how this book came out. And we're interested now in the next month to see what kind of reviews we get. So tonight I selected one of the texts out of this book, and it's just a fairly short text, but it's particularly relevant for tonight because we're having a volunteer week in the house, and so we have half a dozen people who've been brought together to come to the community. And one can't help feeling, having talked to them the other night, that for different reasons, they're in a moment of change or a moment of consideration, something like that. Either, I think in one case, a relationship has stopped, so there is some pain of separation, and a feeling of, I have to look at my life. Christian, who was just talking to me, quit his job some months ago, and he's now been driving around Europe in his van, listening to the prophet from Kilijar, what's his name? Abran, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so he's in some kind of moment, wondering if he's going back to being a businessman or whether he's going to, something is going to change in his life. Okay. So, yeah, so the question is, somebody asked Ramana Maharshi, what is the purpose of life? Is it, and then Bhagwan's answer, it is to discover the correct answer to this question. What is the correct answer? Life. I don't understand. And then Bhagwan explains, life does not question its own purpose. It has no questions to ask. It has no complaint to raise. It has no grudge to bear. Therefore, it is in perpetual peace. You, on the other hand, seem to lack peace. That is why you're raising these questions, evidently. So if you make yourself indistinguishable and inseparable from life, no more questions about life or anything else will arise so as to throw you into the uneasy marsh of inner torment and worry. Thus, you will remain in peace. So the purpose of life is to subsume your life into life, so that torments such as this question cease to distress you. Then you will abide as life or peace itself. Thus, the purpose of life is life. I think I might read that one more time. Just 1 minute, I have to get some water. So I go back to read one more time Ramana Maharshi's explanation. Life does not question its own purpose. It has no questions to ask. It has no complaint to raise. It has no grudge to bear. Therefore, it is in perpetual peace. You, on the other hand, seem to lack peace. That is why you are raising these questions, evidently. So, if you make yourself indistinguishable and inseparable from life, no more questions about life or anything else will arise, so as to throw you into the uneasy marsh of inner tumult and worry. Thus, you will remain in peace. So the purpose of life is to subsume your life into life, so that torment such as this question cease to distress you. Then you will abide as life or peace itself. Thus, the purpose of life is life. So I hope this is a bit clearer on the second reading. And I mean, this is, in a way, a fundamental argument of Advaita. That the invitation of Advaita is simply to be. If you are being from moment to moment every day in your life, you won't have any inner tumult. You won't have any worry. You won't have any really questions. You will simply flow from moment to moment, directed by the intelligence of the universe, you could say. And it's possible to live like that. And in fact, I was suggesting, I think the other night, our community basically runs like that. So we don't have any great plan. We're not trying to achieve some particular place. We simply respond from moment to moment. And therefore, in our community, you can feel a certain kind of energy. And this energy is a little bit like you can feel from young children. It's very spontaneous, it's very innocent, and it's just happening very changeably, spontaneously. This is a beautiful way to live. And this is the suggestion or the point, if you like, of living in our community. Because, of course, in order to come to that, you've got to see the things and understand the things that keep on taking you into some kind of robotic thought patterns. And these thought patterns then lead to your action. And most of us are living in those thought patterns. They're given to us, in particular, from our close family. They're given to us from the particular culture in which we live. We have people here from Ukraine tonight. Of course, they have a different conditioning from people from Germany. And we all have a slightly different cultural and religious environment, and which has touched us as we've grown up. And we have a kind of particular conditioning from our closer family, people who have been having a stronger influence on us, what we believe. We've been told what to believe by those people, and we had no reason not to believe it, and therefore we just took it. And so when we look inside in a particular situation, we tend to then respond in what we could call a robotic way. Robotic in the sense that we respond out of our programming. And of course, if we keep responding out of our programming, then we're not in a he's saying subsume your life into life. Subsume your life into life. Let go into the flow of your life. You see, into a kind of destiny of your life. And the whole quality then from moment to moment is changing. Because the essence, the reason we arrived on this planet is simply to be. And unfortunately, we've been sold a story. Most of the world has been sold the same story, that we're here to do something. Everybody's here to do something. So if you have some strong idea that you're here to do something and you're busy trying to do it, then that will keep you out of a surrender to life. That will keep you out of a surrender to life. And therefore you'll be always left with a feeling of dissatisfaction and a feeling that you have to question. There's some kind of question that comes. Okay. So now we can have some questions about this basic question of life, which I think perhaps some people, we did this self-inquiry together last night, some of the residents and also the people have come from the volunteer week. So maybe one of you has had a sense today of being confronted by this question. What is life? What is the purpose of life? So maybe somebody likes to share a bit about that.
Parvati is waving and Martina.
Okay. Okay, we start with Parvati. Parvati, are you there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like to share that the first time when I came to the community many years ago now, and you were the first who told that there is no point in life. So it was makes me so free. I felt so relaxed that I don't need to look for it, and I have not a special something I must find. And there were really a big release inside of me. And also now I live with this, that there is really no point. not really. This lila of life, it makes it easy for me to see that there is also no program or something how it has to be. As I see it like this. This is point of life. And so that as for me, it's frees me, and makes me much more free inside.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
I'm very
Because
thankful.
if you see that there is not a special point, you know, even by this evening, I have to do some special point, you know, or tomorrow, this week, I have to achieve some special, or this year, or my life is to achieve, then there's an enormous sort of pressure you create for yourself. And this takes you out of life, actually, because if you really look, there's not really any point to life. Of course, we easily create a point. Human beings are constantly creating some point to their life. And it may be that schools and universities, I'm a bit out of touch with all that. It could be that they feel that their role, you know, their educational role is to help you to discover the point of your life, you see. But actually, when you end up, you know, deciding to be a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or a dentist or candlestick maker, this is not really going to ever be the point of your life. This is your particular career or your particular job. This is how you're going to function, maybe, but it's not actually who you are. So yeah, so when you investigate in this moment now, even we can investigate, and you'll find it very difficult to find any point. The only point I really found was the point to become more conscious. And as you become more conscious, then clearly you completely realize that there is no point, that life has no point. And as you say, this is a very relaxed understanding, in fact.
But if you would have told me this 10 years ago, let's say 20 years ago, I would have said, this can't be like this. I need to have a sense. Otherwise, I'm not a human being which can be here. There's something wrong.
Right.
Huh?
No use is you would have no use. Yeah.
No use. Yeah.
Without a point, no use.
And I was also very surprised that it's just a release inside of me when I heard this. No? I was so happy, and that was so. I never looked so particular on a point, but obviously, yes, I did. And then I could really say, okay, let go. No? That was really nice.
Right. And then you've come to the community, and after now many years in the community, just naturally you found your place in the community, and you share a lot with other people. You provide delicious food every day. So somehow this was your role that was waiting for you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. We go to Aruna. Hello, Aruna.
Ja, jetzt. Puh. I'm struggling very much here in Spain. It's so hot. It's this, I can't see a point in all of this, why I'm here and struggling so hard. There's a lot of, yes.
Maybe you're there to feel a great compassion for all the Spanish people. You know, they live under this horrible stuff called sun their whole lives.
But I think they are more used than me. Not, I don't
know, but for example, one of the things is that they learn to have a siesta, you know, from about 2 o'clock until maybe 6 o'clock.
Yes.
They stay inside their darkened house, maybe they sleep, and then they start working again, you know, maybe 6 in the evening until 10 o'clock, something like that, you know, in the cooler evening.
Yes, that would be better. I think so.
Right.
So also in the evening, it goes better for me also. Yes, but yes, perhaps it's 5 days now that I'm here, and perhaps I get used to it. I don't know. I hope so. But yes, it's.
Well,
I don't know
maybe
what.
maybe the things you're doing in the afternoon you can do in the evening and change your daily routine. Yeah.
Yes, I changed that I make something before meditation, before the sun gets up very hot.
Right. Right.
That was better, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You better have a swim sometime as well. Yeah? Have you had a swim in the pool?
I had, yes, but the pool is not very fresh. It's it's
Not very
warm
fresh.
too. I better take a shower.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, we can always find something to complain. Yeah. So you're complaining of sun. And as I've been growing up as an Englishman, you know, I don't usually complain very much about sun. Anyway, we'll be there soon, and so we'll all be equally sunburnt or stroked by the sun. Okay, there's somebody here, Shanti. Shanti? Okay, Shanti has something to say.
Hallo, hört er mich?
Ah, you're completely in the dark. You have a light there?
Damit man dich sehen kann.
Also ich sitze hier in einem Café, ja, und dieser Ort, wo ich sitze, ist leise. Deswegen gehe ich nicht auf eine andere Seite.
Ja. I'm sitting in a cafe, and where I sit at the moment, it's very quiet, so I don't want to move really to another place.
Well, maybe she can just turn around because she's completely in the dark. It's a bit
Vielleicht kannst du
difficult.
einfach nur dein Handy umdrehen, weil du bist total im Dunkeln, man kann dich überhaupt nicht sehen.
Ja, ist schwierig. Ich nehme mal.
Ja, so ist ein bisschen besser.
Hier so, ja? Okay.
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
So ist
Gut.
besser.
Ja, ich möchte mich zu diesem Thema äußern, einfach im Leben sein. Ich finde, es ist ein bisschen schwierig, sich dieser Vorstellung hinzugeben, weil, ich weiß nicht, es geht um dieses Bewusstsein, ne? Und die Frage stellt sich, wie möchte man sein? Wie?
So
Ja,
I find it a bit difficult to just surrender to this being, because there should be a conscious being, and the question is, how should I be?
und ich befinde mich
Hang
immer
on,
in
Shanti. So how I should be is your question. That's the question of Shanti. It's got
Also
nothing
wie
to
soll,
do.
Ja, ich möchte dazu was sagen.
wie sollte ich sein? Das
Ja.
ist deine Frage. Das ist die Frage
Nee,
von
das ist
Shanti.
nicht eine Frage,
But
sondern
that's your problem. Your problem is that question.
Dein
Nein,
Problem ist diese
das ist
Frage.
nicht meine
So
Frage.
drop the question,
Ja, das ist
and then
kein
you're
Problem.
closer to life.
Wenn du diese Frage einfach fallen lässt, dann bist du dem Leben näher.
Das ist schwierig, weil es ist immer so eine Frage, was für eine Facette möchte ich leben? Und ich stehe immer vor der Entscheidung, wie möchte ich etwas sehen? Ja, entweder im Misstrauen oder im Vertrauen. Ja.
So there's
Und,
always the question, which facet do I want to live, and how do I want to look at things? In mistrust or in trust?
Yeah, but all those questions, Shanti, is exactly not bringing you into the life. All those questions are keeping you out of the life, and therefore you won't experience peace.
Aber genau diese Fragen, die bringen dich nicht ins Licht hinein. Und diese Fragen helfen dir auch nicht, innerlich in Frieden zu kommen.
And your questions are based on a very strong belief you have that you're somebody.
Und diese Fragen, die basieren auf einem ganz starken Glaubenssatz, dass du jemand bist.
And from this somebody, you ask all these questions.
Und von diesem jemand, von dieser Person heraus stellst du diese Fragen.
But this is only the robotic Shanti.
Aber das ist nur diese roboterhafte Shanti.
Okay. Es ist schwierig, das so, wie du das sagst, nachzuvollziehen. Ja, weil, okay, ich habe meine Mechanismen in mir, ja, die hochkommen, natürlich. Und ich muss gegen diese Mechanismen kämpfen. Ne? Sonst wäre ich bewusstlos und ich würde nur misstrauen und alles schwarz sehen.
So it's very difficult to accept or understand what you are saying. Of course, I have my mechanisms inside myself, and I very strongly have to fight against these mechanisms, because otherwise I would see everything in a very black way.
Well, you say you have to, but maybe you don't have to.
Du sagst, du musst das, aber vielleicht musst du das ja gar nicht.
Okay, somebody else like to share something? Who have we got there?
Wer möchte noch was sagen?
Maybe Christian has a question. He has some more questions.
Vielleicht der Christian, er hat ja noch ein paar Fragen.
You want to come back and are you there, Christian?
Yeah. I would like to ask you, with my new discovered silence in the meditation, it is that I am stronger in the moment and recognize all the things around me. And I want to know how can I get the focus back inside to ask myself who I am without thinking.
You want to ask, you want to know how to stop thinking? Is that what your question is?
No, I want to know when I'm in a meditation and I have this new discovered silence in my head. I'm being, and all the things around me are very strong. So the cars driving around the street and the birds and so things. And I want to know how can I get the focus back inside me without having another thought.
Well, I would suggest you just stay in this silence and allow the birds to sing rather loudly. And if you can hear the birds, you can also hear the traffic, and maybe you can feel the wind on your face, and so on. You can be aware of the light changing. You're sitting in the garden, so you probably are aware that it's getting darker, less light. So all these things are happening, and your awareness can be aware of all those things, but you don't have to ask any question about it. There's no need to question anything. There's no need to activate your mind. Your mind is always being activated because that's your habit. It's just a habit. And this habit has been, how can I say, deeply scored into the working of your mind. by the people who were surrounding you when you were a little boy growing up, and you know, so we live in a conditioned world, and we ourselves are completely conditioned, and therefore these kind of questions that are appearing at the moment, and your questions, are a natural outcome of all that conditioning. But in reality, we can just be silent. And so if you still tonight feel the silence from last night, just enjoy the silence. You don't have to change anything. And if you can just allow this silence without trying to change it, it will become deeper by itself. Very simple, you see. It's very simple, you know. I mean, life is not really so complicated. We human beings make it fucking complicated. And we have to go to school for 20 years. We have to go to university. We have to learn all these very clever things. We have to pass tests on everything. But actually, life is very, very simple. And in the last few months driving your van, I'm sure you've come more and more into days where the old impulses about what you should do have started to break down, and you found yourself, I don't know, maybe you were lying on the beach for a few hours and you had a great time listening to the sound of the waves and the seagulls and I don't know, whatever, and feeling the sun on your body, having an occasional swim in the cool Mediterranean. And at the end of the day, you realize that you haven't really done anything. You hadn't had any great thoughts, but you had had a wonderful time. Did this happen in the last few months?
Yes, it happens, and I often feel it in also in a group when I'm with people, that I'm only there, listen to the situation, and have a clear mind.
Right. So this is very nice. If you have a clear mind, it's a wonderful gift. And probably between the beginning and end of your driving around Europe, your mind was even quieter than when you started. Is that possibly true? Because just driving your van every day is also a kind of meditation.
Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely.
The Zen of van driving. Yeah. Could be a bestseller.
Yeah, maybe someday I write a book about it.
Right. Any other question? You had a few other questions.
For me, that's it.
That's enough questions.
Thank you really much.
Okay, good. Okay, would anybody else like to have a bit of a dialogue? We still have time. I see Jyoti there looking like she's getting ready to have a talk with me. Are you there, Jyoti?
Yeah, I am. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see you and hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally then. Have no questions in the evening.
You have no questions.
No, I had questions about silence and self, but you already answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you take part last night in the self-inquiry?
Yes, I did.
And did something happen for you? Was there any new understanding?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I joined 3 times the self-inquiry, and so something changed to the first time, and I think what people say, who they are, is often very critical about themselves, and then I think about it's only critical because we named it. It's a critic.
Right.
It's a bad thing. So because it seems that there is nothing, so nothing to be named, and nothing was nothing to give a meaning of things you say.
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly, our mind is constantly judging. Is this
yeah.
right or wrong? You know, is it black
genau,
or white?
that's the right
And
word.
this judging never seems to stop. Yeah, and we are judging against some kind of criteria. So, you know, if you're a very, very conservative person, you have particular criteria. If you're a very free and liberal kind of person, then you have a completely different criteria. But either way, we have some kind of criteria, and we judge against this criteria. And without really thinking about it, we believe this criteria, that our criteria is the right criteria, you know. So for example, you don't run down the street with no clothes on, for example. There are certain sort of stuff like that that you just know, and you just even don't question it, perhaps, you know. But also running down the street with no clothes on is also not so terrible. And the funny thing is, people are so self-absorbed in their thoughts that if you would walk down the street, if you run, you bring some attention maybe to run. But I've seen videos where women are walked through the center of the city naked with a camera following, and nearly everybody doesn't even notice that the woman is naked, because they're so self busy, you know. Most people are completely busy with their own little film show, and they don't have much extra capacity to look around at the bigger picture. And you can, I mean, if you want to try somewhere, walk down the street, and you'll be amazed that people won't even notice you. And you think, wow, I'm doing something really outrageous.
Yeah, sure.
And nobody, well, maybe some people will notice you, but even if they notice you, they'll probably pretend they don't notice you, you see, because they don't want to make a fuss. So even if somebody would notice you, they will maybe look the other way, or they look at your feet, or, you know, whatever, I don't know, you know. Life and robots are very funny.
Yes. Yeah.
And you don't meet many real people, you see. That's one of the things again about children. They're so real. For example, with Naomi on last weekend, I read her a story about Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig went to the zoo and spent the day as the zookeeper, the assistant zookeeper. So I said to Naomi, why don't you help Shakti, and you could feed the tortoise, because feeding lettuce to the tortoise was in this story. So I said, you know, in our zoo, you can also feed tortoise lettuce.
Yeah.
And we have guinea pigs and rabbits, you know, and ducks and birds. You can, and so she did it. And now today was already the 3rd day where she's come at around 10 o'clock and been involved in the animals. And now she already has a favorite mouse. There's a white guinea pig, which is her favorite. And she's clearly very touched from this because suddenly she's discovering something completely new in her life, a relationship to animals, you know. Anyway.
Okay.
Probably you don't need that in your life. You've already met a few animals. Okay, so we still have a bit of time. Somebody else from the volunteers?
Ulrike and Leslie are raising their hands.
Leslie, okay.
Yeah, I just remember at the self-enquiry that when I sat there and I told who I am or who I think I am, my hands got heavier and heavier and heavier, and then it felt like they getting very, very thick and heavy like stones, and it scares me. I was thinking, what is this feeling? It's I never had this before. That yeah, you heard this another time before?
I've heard many, many things another time before. I can't remember if I particularly heard the one about my hands getting many people's hands would get very energetic. So, you know, when you become quiet, when you start to spend time in your own being, the energy that's going through your body starts to change. And sometimes people have very strong energy suddenly going through their body. And then it can be that your arms and your hands can kind of become, what's the word?
Tickling?
Tickling, but cramp, can become cramp.
Oh, this
So,
I have often when I breathe a lot.
okay, so when you breathe a lot, it can be good to shake your hands a bit so that they don't cramp. If you shake your hands a bit or move your fingers around, the energy can move out of your body. And if you're cramping, it's because there's too much energy going on in the body and you need to release it. Okay, so I mean, that's a fairly common phenomena of cramping in the hands and feeling heavy, and maybe part of that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, was just very, very strange.
Yeah.
But
well, as you've decided to join the community, you're going to experience lots of very strange things.
yes.
You can look forward to lots of strange things in the next time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a Rika again there with a hand.
I want to share what happened to me today during I was working at the guest house. It was, I think, the first moment for that I can stay for a longer time in the moment, that there were no thoughts and nothing, no feelings. I was still in the moment and still in me. And then something happened that I can see that I don't have to do anything, and the things that I've wished half year before, or yes, that were always my wishes in me, now are happening. And when I saw that, all over my body. There was so much energy. I got this, I don't know what's the word in English, on my skin when goosebumps. Okay, goosebumps all over my body for half an hour. And there came a big yes, yes, yes. You want to do this way. You want to go this way, and you're right here, and you do the right things. And it was so filled with so much love, and I was so thankful, and there was so much energy. And yes, it was, I don't know how to describe. It was such a moment. Lily was still with me. I was so, yes, so thankful, because 1 or 2 weeks before I was so in trouble with myself. What are you doing here? Is it right or is it not? On what you have to do. And now I got the answer today. And yeah, it was from the deep of my heart, a big yes. And yeah, I'm thankful, and I want to share.
Right. And again, everybody who's listening to Ulrike can see on her face, yeah, that she's very sincere, because what she's trying to describe is probably kind of new to her, and it feels, you know, very different. And also maybe that makes her a little bit vulnerable, but also she's got very deeply inside her a kind of message that this is what she wants. This is right for her. You see, so this is very, very beautiful and very, very important. Yeah, you don't have to listen to John David. You don't have to listen to anybody else. You only have to listen to your own being. And if you listen to your own being, you're constantly going to be guided in life, because your own being is almost acting like a navigation system. I would say it is a navigation system, but not quite the same as the one we put in the electronic box in the car, but we have our own kind of organic navigation system, which if you are living your life tuned into that navigation system, if you're listening to it, if you're quiet enough that you can really listen, it completely guides you. And then inside you, you have a feeling, this is right, this is right. You see, so you don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to ask your best friend, you know, shall I do this? You see, you know it's right because it's coming from deep inside you. And that is surely the best possible situation for your life. You don't have to listen to anybody. You listen to your own being, and your own being, of course, is going to, if you like, formulate all the complexities of life. So probably your own being will suggest you don't run naked down the street, you know, because that's just it's not what happens, yeah. But there are many, many moments when we could take a step into something new, where we tend to stay in our robotic patterns, yeah. I hope Timur doesn't mind me saying this, but last night, one of our volunteers, Timur, who has a good understanding from his many years of Vipassana, when he came to sit with a partner and look in their eyes, this was very, very confronting for him. So even before the "who are you" question, he was very confronted just by looking in somebody's eyes, and had to stop. Well, he didn't have to, but he did stop. Yeah. So he missed the value of that particular exercise, because somehow he became terrified looking into somebody's eye. And of course, looking into somebody's eye is very intimate. And he'd already shared that for him, it's not so easy to be intimate. I don't know, Timur, would you like to respond to what I've just said? Thank you, Ulrike. Is Timur still here? Okay. You're in the garden, I think.
Did I turn the mic?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can't see you. Maybe you could turn around, we would see you, because there's a light behind you. Yeah, now we see you. Okay.
Well, yes, all I can say is this was a great intensity. Wouldn't quite agree on the term fear of it. We could ask my partner if she felt that kind of thing happening. For myself, describing it, it was an intensity that I haven't had in a while.
Right.
It's a very, I mean, it's, you know, it's also due to maybe the Corona pandemic. I tend to be one of the people who really didn't mind that we suddenly have 1.5 meters staying away from each other, because I feel I feel
Right.
it. I feel the presence of people very intensely especially when they're very close to me. And yes, I have a tendency to it's very it's penetrating my system. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be touched, but the closeness to people. And yeah, it seems that this intensity of the eye contact yesterday was it was well worth discovering and experiencing. But yes,
Right.
after the first round, I was knocked out in the boxes.
Okay. Well, you'd already shared with me that for you, it's not so easy to come closer to people, that you're tending to, for example, you like Vipassana meditation, which of course is a very solitary, quiet meditation. And you've done several retreats where it wasn't even possible to have a relating with somebody because everybody was simply separate. So it might be interesting for you to investigate that part of yourself, because of course it's not very natural not to be able to have an easy relating with people.
Well, yeah, also comes to my mind that the way my life is structured, I usually have a lot of opportunities to decide to be on my own. Although I'm very social and I'm very lively when I'm around people, I also have a side which likes to be on my own. Therefore, and I have always the retreating possibilities in my life. So when I have enough of people, I'm just gonna, I'm saying goodbye and disappear. Being in a community like this and being like for a whole day with people and then sitting in the satsang room, and there's no chance for me to actually go away when I feel like, wow, this was enough communication, enough words being heard and said, then this might also play a role that, yes, it's new to me to be kind of like exposed to this kind of community, and I didn't want to leave the room because this is also pretty shitty for the person who is leading the exercise.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to finish soon. Is anybody else who'd like to jump in?
Hanuman is waving.
Hanuman is there, okay. Is Shiva still there to translate?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Привет, Джон Дэвид.
Hello.
У меня вопрос. Возможно, Хануман чего-то не понимает, и у меня по этому внутри есть сильное напряжение.
I have a question. Maybe Hanuman doesn't understand something, and because of that, I have a very strong tension inside.
У Ханумана Хануман чувствует хорошую, сильную связь со своей навигационной системой, и месседжи, послания этой навигационной системы очень четкие, ясные, но при этом нет окей от ЖД, от мастера Ханумана.
Hanuman can feel and has good connection to his navigation system inside and can see the messages very clearly, but often he don't get they are not like accepted or not fine with his teacher with John David.
Как?
Must be my fault, I think.
Наверное, это не моя вина.
Ну, твой совет, как быть? Внутри непонятно.
And maybe you can give some advice, because for me it's not clear how to be with that.
Well, I mean, basically what I can say is that if your navigation is telling you something and your teacher's not telling you and not agreeing with that, you know, either your teacher is simply wrong or there may be something to look at. I mean, if the teacher has any value, then if he's telling something which doesn't fit with your navigation system, probably you need to investigate the answer you're getting from your navigation system. Is it really your navigation system, or is it actually your mind? And probably it's more likely to be your mind, your conditioned mind, than it is your navigation system.
Let me translate. И получается, если ну, вот эти вот сообщения, которые ты получаешь от своей навигационной системы, ну, твой учитель с ними не согласен, стоит, наверное, задуматься и исследовать. Ну, как бы тут два варианта. Или учитель не прав, или, возможно, стоит задуматься и посмотреть, являются ли вот эти вот послания действительно от твоей навигационной системы, или это, возможно, ум.
So I think the first thing is to discover, is it really my navigation system, or is it my conditioned mind?
Я думаю, первое, это надо исследовать, действительно ли это навигационная система или обусловленный ум.
Ну, жизнь показывает, что навигационная система Ханумана работает хорошо.
Life shows that Hanuman navigation system is working good.
Okay, so then must be John David's not working good.
Тогда, наверное, Джон Дэвид плохо работает.
Я не разделяю систему, то, что Хануман называет навигационной системой, и то, что мы называем Джон Дэвида, но на каком-то уровне отношений есть, наверное, какой-то конфликт ученика с мастером, да, наверное, это у меня там суждение.
I don't separate like the navigation system and John David, but probably I have inside some conflict, like maybe between teacher and student. There is some issue inside with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, maybe you test this issue in the way of seeing if it's coming out of your mind. This is a conditioning in your mind, or whether you're really clear that this is from existence itself. And you can then write to me about this issue that you think I'm, you know, in a conflict with your navigation system. Maybe I'm not in conflict with your navigation system.
И, ну, можно посоветовать, ну, только исследовать эту проблему, о которой ты говоришь, и разобраться, действительно ли она, ну, это послание твоей навигационной системы, или это, может, какие-то паттерны ума. И, ну, исследуй и напиши мне об этом, об этой проблеме. Возможно, я, ну, с этим нету никакой проблемы.
Окей.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, so we're going to finish there tonight. The next Zoom will be next Tuesday. It's been advertised for next Thursday, but actually it'll be on next Tuesday. So the holiday has made things a bit out of the schedule. So next Tuesday for the Zoom meeting. And some of you recently are deciding to come to the retreat in Denya. So I remind you, it's the first 2 weeks in September. We already have a pretty nice bunch of people coming. And so if there's 1 or 2 more interested, then you can talk to Indira. And I will say good night.